Um, I posted a bunch of photos of this author. Um, Writing books about my life, I stumble into authors in my lineage. Like this was a script. This is Edna. Edna was married to a George Dillon. George Dillon is uh, I forgot all of the history, but George F. George Francis Dillon was in the 1800s um, a bishop, I believe, for the Pope at the time. He wrote the book of Lady Good Counsel. Um, what I'm trying to find is other George Dillons that lived in the United States. I found another George Dillon who married this author, and the both of them wrote lots of scripts um, in the late 1900s or early 1900s. I think it might even be later than that. Well, I've found a bunch of her writings and I feel like a kinship with her. So I'm using her picture. Let's scroll down to where it was at. This is the chapter I just read. Chapter 3, Set Fire to the Rain. My fire friends and I only ever wanted was to catch some magic in the tall Ohio grass. Catching our hearts ablaze and growing affections for each other. My highest goal was to be spun around by my fire buddy. This fire buddy who tended to my heart on the internet for many years, many top secret chats, plans, and wishes discussed. We were each other's favorite pen pal. Love. We were each other's favorite pen pal. He was always wanting me to log on and give him a briefing of my day. His sweet words mended my spirit after others had broke my heart. He was always a big sweetheart. He was growing up nicely. A baby-faced boy is now a handsome young man. His mind is growing and talks are getting deeper. Our words are linked in distance. Hoping, waiting, wishing that the chariot would pick me up and take me to his galaxy. Take me above the trees, through the night. Will I get to look at his sweet smile? When that moment arrived, we were both in shock. The summer of 2007 was here. We had bumped into each other for the first time that summer, and I was about to be a senior in high school. To look at me was pure magic. The night we drank strawberry moonshine, danced to REO Speedwagon. We were barefoot and dancing around the fire, and it was like a dream. My fire buddy just turned 16. We got a job over the summer at a canoe. He got a job. I just canoed. He got a job over the summer at a canoe place. He was 6 foot 4 inches, standing like a Bigfoot in the river, with tall, dark, brown, curly locks covering his eyes, trying to pretend to be cool. He had a sneaky smile that was followed by giggles. Reminds me of how thunder rolls the lightning strike. His playlist was like a journey back in time, with rabbit holes along the way, his sweet dance moves enchanting all the ladies. To look at him was pure magic. My fire buddy is standing in front of me, a man, no longer a boy, my eyes swelling with joy. He is the person I have yearned for several years, and he is in front of me. There was a magic rising from the ground to the sky, and after years of speaking this moment into existence, that moment was happening. Electricity traveling into my core. Our passion was starting to burn fast. Our night was burning like a cardboard box on the hot bed of coals, burning fast and bright for a short time, and in the back of our heads we knew that this was our only chance, the only time to set a match to these embers in our hearts. Our mutual wish was to just get our mutual wish was to just get to be within 6 feet of each other. Now we are 17 and sitting under the same moon, on the same picnic table, watching the same fire burn as bright as our dreams. Since we were 13 and we only wanted to be standing in the same place, at the same time, alone together. Now it was here, the moment everyone was waiting for. Fire Buddy wins the girl. We both had envisioned this moment for years. Usually we were surrounded by siblings. All we ever did was stare at each other, and normally, just in passing moments. Let me tell you about one of those passing moments. This moment was the beginning of football season in 2004. My best friend was dating the eldest Fire brother. We both spun flags for the band, and that fall was after our first summer romance as 13-year-old kids. Our worlds our words of passion, reading like one of my mom's romance novels, the kind of books your buddy takes home. Our summer romance consisted of a couple of awkward fishing dates and a lot of instant messages from our dusty computers. We held hands, kisses on the forehead and tops of hands, opening doors and getting me a snack for the movies, naps with the air out on a hot summer day. We had the sweetest little love. And then at the end of the summer of 2004, I broke his heart with an email, thinking I would never see him again. However, all I did that year was bump into him. He showed up at every football game with his brother. I broke out with him because he went to a different school, thinking that it might break my heart to not see him. Well, I seen him everywhere. Where I was, he was. My fire buddy took revenge on my heart. He proceeded to win every girl in my orbit's affection, sitting in the middle of us, laughing and flirting, making sure my eyes link his, making sure I regret hitting send on the bomb that landed in his heart. I tried not to let him get to me, but he did. He dug at me. Then I started building my wall around my heart, and it seemed like I was learning a lesson the hard way. I realized too late that I made the wrong choice. There was no way I was going to let him see me sweat. So I started taking interviews for my new fire buddy. For a new fire buddy. There's only one. Taking my appointments for new suitors in the form of slow walks around the track, with a friend nearby to take notes, and while I eat my walking tacos, blocking out the person next to me, trying to find him in the crowd, making sure that my laugh was loud enough for him to sniff me out, and wanting him to chase me, and wanting him to find me, wanting him to bump into me. Then one day nearing his birthday in 2015, we bumped into each other. It was my sister's prom, and I was her plus one. That day I locked eyes with my fire buddy. He stood with my tribe, keeping me warm with his stare. In the April air, the smiles and stares melted the coldness on our bitter young hearts. And in that moment in time, we stopped all of our mind games. All of the spiteful glances, grudgeful speech stopped. We only had room for love and affection, love and friendship in our hearts. And as we linked, longing to be wrapped in each other's arms, that day I that day I was dressed in a silk blue dress that made my milky skin glow. A dress that a dress you seen my sister wear the year before. Now I have come into my womanhood, blossoming into a beautiful young woman, my big blue eyes shining like diamonds, my glow hitting the reflection and telling my best friend to fix my strap. All of my bitter thoughts about him melted away when he looked at me with a devilish smile and said, "You look very pretty, Stacy Day." I said thanks. I showered. Then I followed it up with my most adorable laugh, hoping to not say anything else embarrassing. His gaze always made me fall over my feet and laughing at something he said. With each laugh together was followed by was followed with a reminder that we cannot be together. We live too far away from each other, and maybe God will make a way for us. That was my prayer as a young girl. I grew up in church and wanted the fairy tale love story. However, God always seems to pull us apart. All while I was silently holding my breath that God would open a door. As a child, you must trust the plan because you are not in control. All you can do is hope, hoping that there would be another chance to be in each other's orbit, praying that we could just get to see each other one more time. Will we get to hold hands again, wishing to be near, to feel his slight touches on his fingers? He was just a gentle giant and can crack my heart open with a glide of a fingernail. And now I am growing into a young girl, and my heart was changing the way I was seeing my fire buddy. He was always been my friend, but now I seem to desire more than friendship. I really did not want to ruin my friendship. He made me regret ever putting him in the friend zone. And my fire buddy spent years and hours to get me to fall in love with him. His methods seemed to be working. My knees were weakening, my butterflies were growing, getting bigger and bigger, about to fly out of me. Our magnetic field wants us to be near each other. His gaze was wrapping me like a lasso, pulling me closer to him. Like a desperado, with only a look, pulling the color from my cheeks. He was going to be entering high school next year, and wonder what kind of adventures we would get into. Not a lot. I had a falling out with my best friend, who was still dating his brother, and now we will just have to rely on bumping into each other. This is a small town, and I'm sure we'll be seeing each other in all the familiar places. Nicholas Sparks over here. Oh my god, there's so many notebook jokes. I'm an animal like you. Ellie Goulding close to me. I don't do that so much anymore. Chapter 3. Wasn't that chapter 3? I find old copies of my books, so bear with me here. That's chapter 3. Next is chapter 4, Holler Back Girl.